Hey, what's up, YouTube? First off, I just want to thank all the people that subscribed already, and thank you to the people that's going to subscribe, will subscribe in the future. Um, I know you guys are used to me making like funny videos and I've done a lot of different things on this channel, but I just want to try to switch it up a little bit, expand my horizon, start doing different types of videos and different types of content, just to broaden the horizon, and do different things. So I'm gonna start doing media coverage, kind of like just talking about, what's going on in the culture and in the world. And um, today I'm gonna be talking a little bit about the Epstein files. Not too much, because I really haven't done a lot of research or stuff on it, but obviously I've heard things and seen things. I'm sure like everybody else has, and yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about that. Um, I just think it's crazy, first off, how Jeffrey Epstein's company or him or his company won the lottery. That's pretty crazy to me. Like, out of everybody in the world, he won the lottery. Out of all the people that play the lottery, he was able to win it. That's a little suspicious to me, don't you think, that he won the lottery? Um, Another thing that's pretty crazy is Ghislaine Maxwell. I think that's how you pronounce her name. The videos and pictures that they're showing of her in prison, oh no, it doesn't really line up to the pictures and videos I've seen of her outside of prison. I don't know if her facial features have just changed that much to where, she's looking that much different, or maybe it's somebody else, who knows, that's in the prison. Um, Obviously, another thing is Jeffrey Epstein dying by suicide in prison while he was supposed to be, under suicide watch, or, he was obviously a pretty high profile prisoner. So I feel like, obviously they probably should have kept a closer eye on him to make sure, he wasn't able to commit suicide. But I guess not. I guess they weren't keeping that close of an eye on him. And another thing is, 2 days before he committed suicide, he uh, he allegedly or supposedly transferred all his assets to this woman that he had been in contact with. He sent her, or he put her in his will. So she got all of his assets, all of his money, all of his properties, his islands. I think they said she got like a 33 carat diamond ring or something crazy, or a diamond, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty coincidental, um, that, he would do that 2 days before his suicide. Um, Another thing is his co-defendant, this French guy. I forget his name, but he was like in charge of he was like the head of some modeling agency for girls, and I think he had got convicted along with Epstein. He also committed suicide in France, in his French prison. You can think what you want or put two and two together however you feel. And it's also pretty crazy that there weren't any other co-defendants in that case. I think if you're, trafficking girls or humans or whatever, you would think that they would have some people that you were trafficking too. Um, Also, another thing they say, in the files that came out in the files was in his emails that he was talking about preparing for a pandemic, before 2020. I think that's pretty crazy too, that he would be talking about getting ready or preparing for a pandemic that, hadn't even happened yet. Also, another thing that came out in the files, supposedly he had a lot of interaction or a lot of communication with Putin, the leader of Russia. It's just crazy that he was in contact and had relationships with so many high-powered people, and this is even after you guys. I'm pretty sure he was convicted in 2008 for similar crimes, and a lot of these people still kept a relationship with him and kept friendships or whatever you want to call it with him, even knowing some of the things he had been convicted for. And another thing, he also had a phone call, I think they say maybe like within an hour or so before he committed suicide, and this phone call wasn't recorded. And I'm not sure if you guys know that all prison phone calls are supposed to be recorded. They tell you that when you get on the phone that these calls are recorded, but for some reason that phone call wasn't recorded. I think they know that he spoke with the young lady that he transferred all his assets to, but nobody knows what was said in that phone call. And he also, what came out in the files is he had a lot of purchases, expensive purchases from Wayfair, the company Wayfair that sells the furniture. And they had that big scandal years ago, or conspiracy years ago, about them selling people on that website. It's high class furniture or whatever, like cabinets that were like $30,000, $40,000, stuff like that. And they had the cabinets, the pieces of furniture had the names of girls that was actually missing, the exact spelling of their names and everything. And it came out that Epstein had purchases, large dollar amount purchases from that website. And also the owner of Victoria's Secret, he gifted Epstein a pretty expensive mansion in Manhattan, New York, I believe. And nobody knows why he was gifted that mansion, but I believe the mansion was worth like millions and millions of dollars, like maybe I forget, maybe 100 million or more. Pretty nice real estate in the middle of Manhattan, a Manhattan mansion. And if you know anything about New York, you know that those properties are a pretty penny. Also, it came out, some conversations that he had with another young lady where she was saying, he was telling her something about her betraying him and breaking his trust, and she mentioned that, well, I never told anybody about when you tried to buy my baby or take care of my husband financially, so I mean, it's a lot of pretty dark things that came out in these files. That's why, I really don't want to dive too deep in it myself, and I don't even want to, read these things too much, just because of how dark and twisted it actually is. It's pretty crazy, the darkness that's really going on in the world. But another thing was that, after his supposed suicide, this was actually not that long ago, I believe, that his Fortnite account was active online, supposedly in another country somewhere. I forget what country, but a foreign country, somewhere far away. They said his Fortnite account was active. Somebody was on there playing his with his account. Who knows, you know, what that's about. But yeah, this was just something, you know, I just wanted to come on and discuss. You know, I will be doing further takes on relevant topics going on in the media. So, you know, you guys let me know what you think. Let me know if there is any topics you would like to hear me talk about. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now, you guys. I'll be back soon with more videos. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, you know, it's greatly appreciated. So I'll see you guys later. Everybody have a good day.